All right, let's go then. All right,
Let's
Ray,
do it.
you ready? Are
Let's
you
do it.
ready?
I'm ready.
I am too.
Counter to intelligence.
Welcome to Counter to Intelligence. I am Ken the Bunker, and as always, with me is
Tom the debunker here to talk about one of our favorite new topics, which is
5G. 5G. It's a horrible thing, according to all the conspiracies I have found. Although I do enjoy it on my cell phone.
right. It,
Like,
it helps.
so
It makes it a little
yeah,
fun.
I mean, I watch a lot of times, like my wife has friends over, and so they take over the TV. So I go up to my, bunker or down here in the bunker up into my room and I watch Netflix movies or movies I've purchased and they're on Fandango. Shout
Oh,
out to
nice.
Fandango if they want to like sponsor us.
It
And
definitely
so
should.
like I'm one of I'm a sheeple and it may be killing me, but it makes my phone run faster. So I like the 5G,
I do too.
even
Yeah.
though it's destroying the world.
It is just,
Um,
yeah, that's what I'm hearing. It's very
yeah,
destructive.
yeah. Well, I mean, you sent me a guy who was debunking all
Yeah.
this, like
Can you
that's a
imagine?
5G, and you know what? I thought he was AI, or he had been mind controlled by 5G to tell us 5G was good. Like that guy was like, I watched the whole video and I was like, man, that guy, he had like he was very monotone
You
and he
was.
was just glassy eyed. And I don't know who the guy was, but I don't think he's real. You sent me a debunker that wasn't even real.
You're debunking my debunker. Wow.
Yeah, I don't think he was a real person. But anyway,
That's
let's
how
get
deep
into
this goes.
yeah,
As our audience knows, this goes very deep to the
it
point where
is.
they're generating
I
AI
mean,
to debunk this.
That, now, this is another one. Like this is 2 weeks in a row that we've had a conspiracy that I'd heard about, but I didn't know much about. Like the Mountain Dew one I'd heard about, and I was kind of like flimsy on it. But then by the end of my research, I was like, that's crazy.
Right.
This is another one of them. Like I'd heard about the 5G stuff, but
Right.
I'd heard limited things about it. And I didn't realize there is a lot of conspiracies revol like it's crazy. So I'm going to give you the conspiracy, the multiple conspiracies. I'll
Yeah.
then do you want me to just give you all the conspiracies, then you debunk or one at a time?
Let's do all of them, and then we
All
can
right.
go through. I've been reading up on them too, and there's so many. I was
Yeah,
more than I
and then
thought.
I even found a timeline of events leading up to 5G.
Oh wow.
So I'll give that after we talk about the maybe we'll do the conspiracy, then the timeline, and then I'll let you just go wild on tell me it's lies, and then I'll know that you're controlled. But anyway, so the first of the 5D conspiracies is actually mind control tool. So uh it's the it goes back, it's the origin goes back to DARPA, which was funded to research psychotronic weapons in the 1970s. Um, and basically, they're saying that if the fruition of the DARPA things was 5G, which is ultra high frequency millimeter waves, and it can supposedly interfere with your neural interference grid, subtly disrupting your brain waves, your coherency, and lowering your critical thinking skills. And it is evident that we do not have very good critical thinking skills in schools these days. So maybe I do also know that people who like I use wired headsets for me, but a lot of people who used to wear like the like AirPods and stuff claim to be get headaches from them, and it's all
Oh,
connected into the 5G
oh my
whatever.
gosh.
But I've never used AirPods because I'm one of these. They just cost so much, and I know I'll lose them. Maybe that's part of the conspiracy. I don't know.
Exactly.
So
Well, yeah.
I've always done wired. Unfortunately, like your phones now have no jack for wired, so I
Right.
force everyone in the gym to listen to my music, and they can come up to me and say, "You need a headset." I was like, "I can't. There's no plug." They'll put your little ear pods in and ignore my,
Yes.
uh, Tiny Tim uh, medley.
Right.
as I
It's a
work
good
out.
habit.
Because I always work out to Tiny Tim's music because tiptoeing through the tulips gets my gains going.
Yeah.
So
Me, it's
the
Gangster Paradise. I mean, as you would expect. So
yeah,
for
yeah,
my days, yeah, back when I was living a different life. So
yeah, you're a different man now.
yeah, I am very different.
Now the second of these 5G conspiracies is the health damage and population control.
Whoa.
So not only do they control your minds, they control the population. And this is tied to post-World War II eugenics programs in the military interest to microwave crowd control, like basically, and it's emitting and sterilizing us. Basically, it's a constant exposure to high frequency EMFs, weakening cellular membranes, disrupts DNA repair, and causes oxidative stress, leading to infertility, cancer, and neurodegeneration.
I had
And it's
oxidative stress last week as I was really busy. That's I
yeah,
don't I think that's what you call it. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, and this goes back to like it's Bill Gates was saying they were going to use vaccines to control the population and diminish it. No,
Yeah.
they're using 5G. And that's why you should never carry your cell phone in your front pocket. It's sterilizing you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
mine's in my back pocket. Is it still
well,
affecting
it's
you?
probably
Me?
some kind of cancer.
Oh man. That's
I'll
bad.
leave. I'll leave it at that. It's
Man,
causing
I'm in trouble.
cancer.
Yeah.
Now here's the big one. This is the one I've heard about. This next one, and I don't really fully understand it. Uh, 5G is linked to COVID-19,
I
and
read about this.
this is the one I had heard about a long time ago, and I never, and that's the only 5G conspiracy I really heard about. But
Yeah.
as I researched, I found all these others.
So
Uh,
many.
Now the allegation is Wuhan, which is where COVID started, was also they say it was the first city to have widespread 5G, and it began in late 2019.
Yeah.
And though I'm not usually the debunker, other cities had 5G in
Before,
2019 as
for
well.
sure.
Wuhan was one of them, but
Yeah.
like South Korea did, and I think
Yeah.
Japan.
Yeah.
So like it had already started. So Wuhan was one of them, but the claim is it was the first. It wasn't necessarily first, but I found it interesting that Wuhan did get it. And the theory is that the virus was either a cover up for the radiation sickness of the bioengineering and the 5G radiation that was weakening our system. They also get into like they use COVID as an like forcing us to be inside, so we couldn't really go out and travel
Right.
to see what they were doing as they set up all these towers, and they set them all up in 2020 while we're all stuck inside, not allowed to leave. And I don't know if you remember this, but I remember when it happened, I was considered a essential employee for my job at the
Nice.
time. At the time, my government job was considered essential. Since then, Elon says it's not, so it went away. But at the time, it was essential to
Right.
democracy around the world and all that. But uh, I had to get a special card because I lived in one state, my job was in the other, to show if I got pulled over. Do you remember this? It was
I
kind of like a
remember
little
this. It's crazy.
passport saying I am essential. I can go into these places. And I do remember seeing them constructing towers like
Yeah.
along the 270 and
Oh, well, nobody
95
was
corridor.
looking except the people with the cards. Nobody was
Yeah.
looking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then like it was just part of everyday. I mean, there's always construction in DC area. So it's like, yeah. So basically it was a smoke screen.
Right.
Um,
Obviously.
Now, the next conspiracy is it's a global surveillance grid.
Oh,
This
wow.
one this one actually pings with me, and like this one makes sense out of all of them so far.
Right. True.
Like, so basically, it alleges that the NSA surveillance plans were exposed by Snowden in 2013, and he was hinting that they were moving to a way to really spy on everything, and that 5G is the final infrastructure layer.
Oh, wow.
And basically, because it's power, it can send and receive signals. They can know exactly where we are at all times. They can listen in on you at all times.
We should
And
talk later.
Yeah, and there is, I mean, there is that weird evidence where like you'll have your phone, and I've done it where I don't have kids in diapers anymore, but I will talk about Pampers or whatever,
Yeah.
and my phone is like this off. It's like looks off,
Yeah.
right?
It
And
looks off.
I will be talking about Pampers, diapers, depends. And then when I turn it back on and go to Facebook or whatever, I will have ads for Pampers, diapers, and depends
Yeah.
showing up in my feed.
Yeah.
And I nowhere typed in any of it. I just talked about it. And I've done other like things too, like, man, I really want a Ferrari. And suddenly I'm getting Ferrari ads. Like I can't afford that, especially now because Doged me. So I'm not bitter.
Not
I'm a,
better, not better. But I agree. Like I had the same thing. It's somebody is listening from Facebook or Google or wherever because I talk just about regular things. They'll be like, "Oh, you need yarn for your craft," and like some of them getting yarn ads, and I'm like, "This is ridiculous." Like it's
yeah.
really listening. Yeah,
Yeah. And it'll be other people talking next to you. And then you're getting the ads for them. And you're like,
yeah,
I don't care about that. That was Brian. Brian wants yarn, not
yeah.
me.
Not me. Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
Now there,
it's all 5G. But see, is it 5G? This is even pre 5G phones when
yeah. Yeah, but
it
I'm saying,
was.
yeah, it was pre 5G, but now 5G is making it even stronger that they can know what's going on. That's why you got to have like WhatsApp or Signal
Right.
because it encodes your messages and supposedly the government can't read.
They say.
Um, now here's the next one to piss off environmentalists. 5G was part of a tree removal agenda.
Whoa.
Around 2016, cities like Sheffield, UK began destroying thousands of healthy trees. And this coincided with the 5G planning documents. They knew it was coming, so they started getting rid of trees. And the reason is trees interfere with 5G's high frequency signals. So the government said, screw the trees. They don't care what the Lorax says. He speaks for the trees, but not for me. So
It's all
they
goes
don't
back to Lorax at the end.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They obviously the government doesn't read Dr. Seuss and realize trees are important, and they got rid of them. So basically, what it does is the idea is the reason why they want to get rid of trees, not just for the 5G, but trees supposedly are a natural EMF buffer. So if someone did an EMF, electromagnetic, whatever, or
EMP?
EMP,
Yeah.
EMP. So electromagnetic buffer, it buffs it. So it's not as devastating. So we got to get the trees and just get them down to shrubberies
Got it.
because, like in the Knights Who Say Knee, all they wanted was shrubberies, and so does the government. Sorry, I'm going all over the place
It
with
all
this.
connects. It all connects.
Yeah,
I
it does.
see. Yeah.
The thing I wish I could say that was it. There's still more.
This,
There's
this is
still
I'm making a list so I can remember what to debunk here.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next is military weaponization. And
Oh,
here's the next one. It's so funny. Like I said, it was one of these where I thought, oh, it was just the COVID thing. And then it just
right.
like more and more and more. I'm like, holy cow, are you kidding me? 5G is just evil. Evil. Like
Taking over.
if it was 6G, I'd almost be like, it totally makes sense because 666, Mark of the Beast. But
666G. Yeah.
so maybe this is the predecessor to the Mark of the Beast 5G.
Oh, wow. Do you think
But
we
that's a
can
whole different
trademark it? Could
yeah,
we trademark
trademark it.
666G so
Yeah.
that
So
like
that the
sell it
Antichrist
to,
has to pay us.
yeah, exactly.
Or
Let's
well, like,
cash
well,
in.
and I'll be like, hey, you can have it as long as I don't have to put any marks on me and I can still buy or sell food.
Right.
And
It's good.
then it's my get out of hell free cards.
We should
So
do that. If a sponsor wants to come on and help us raise the money, they can
yeah,
definitely do that.
yeah.
We good.
So all
Get
right.
in.
So the military weaponization, 5G shares frequency ranges with military grade crowd control devices and radar systems. Basically, the government's going to use it. Again, it's the EMF pulse. It goes back to the getting rid of the trees. So like the electromagnetic frequency where they can use these pulses. And we have seen government does use these things where for crowd control, there's like it gives people headaches, makes them nervous, makes them not want to be in crowds. And I think I even mentioned the one that can make your bowels basically evacuate what's in your bowel system, and that makes people not want to be around. They want to go home because they've messed themselves. So That's out there, and those are real things. And they're
Wow.
saying 5G is connected because what they're saying is going to happen is that you'll have your cell phone, and like you said, you have it in your back pocket, your front pocket, you have it, you're talking on phone, and they release a frequency, and it'll come through your phone and give you paranoia or whatever. It'll, you know, and that's why you shouldn't have it in your back pocket because it might mess with your bowels, and then you mess your pants and your phone at the same time.
Wow. I mean, but here's the thing. All of us every year have probably had a moment where our bowels were unhappy and it's
Yeah.
probably 5G.
And
Yeah.
the worst is when you're in traffic and that's happened.
That's a problem.
And
Yeah. And then
yeah,
they know where you are because of the 5G, and they're probably
yeah,
making you drive to where they want you to go. And it's
yeah.
not
And
just
they're like, let's make not only the fact that they're in traffic stink, let's literally make them stink. And
right.
then, yeah. All right. So here is the next one.
There's so many.
We're almost done. We're almost done. I
This is
promise.
this is
So,
great. I had no idea.
so your friend wanted us to do this. So I hope your
Yes.
friend is listening and seeing that I did my due diligence and found every 5G conspiracy.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I'm guessing your friend who is into the 5G probably only had one or two of these
Right.
on their mind.
They think it's
I want,
cancer. Yeah, that's the
yeah,
big
well, yeah, that goes back to health thing.
yeah.
But yeah, there's more. There's so many. And
So
so
many.
this is wildlife and ecosystem collapse.
Whoa.
So they're saying this is allegedly that the first mass bird deaths occurred during 5G testing in the Netherlands. And they were all like, ooh, that's weird. Um, so basically, small animals, birds, insects are highly sensitive to electromagnetic radiation. 5G disrupts their internal navigation and reproduction and immune systems. And basically, it's to move to a major climate change so the government can control us. I do know they say that it does mess with bees, which is a major, we're
Yeah.
trying, you don't want to mess with the bees. I
Yeah.
know the Lorex was for the trees, but we really need to be for the bees because the bees keep the trees.
Oh, I like
So
this. I want to make a t-shirt.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna. I think I need to become the new Dr. Seuss
I
and like
could
write
you?
my own stories.
We
Yeah,
should do it. I think you're the new John Seuss. I love it.
yeah, because I can rhyme simple words.
That I mean, that's
So
a core skill.
yeah, it is. Yeah, maybe
Not
I can
everybody
see
has
what
it.
I. Yeah, I'll see what I can do. I'll do counter to intelligence is the bees are for the trees, and then there you go. Now here's the last one.
These are amazing.
This is Agenda 21 and the Great Reset.
No way. All right.
Yeah. All right. A UN's Agenda 21 and the WEF's, I don't know what that was, World something organization, Great Reset plan for global reconstructing under the guise of sustainability. And basically, 5G is the central nervous system of the coming smart cities where populations are tightly controlled via surveillance, social credit, and biometric tracking. So this goes into like the Antichrist, basically,
Right. Yeah.
like we were joking about earlier, but this is like where there's like saying, and then you have Elon Musk saying those neurochips. They're saying that's going to be connected to 5G and it'll be able to like, yeah, it helps you see better, but it also makes you be like, no, you can't think this way.
Wow.
Um,
There's a
that's,
movie like that, isn't there, where they
yeah,
do the chips? Yeah.
yeah. And the big picture basically it phases out private property, physical cash, and free movement, all enabled by 5G connectivity. So basically, what they're saying is like, here it is, and the smart cities is a big thing.
It is a
Like
big thing.
and Elon Musk is behind him. He really wants these smart cities, and
Yeah.
he's pushing for them. So maybe that's a
Maybe.
whole nother conspiracy where we can get into who is Elon Musk really. So
The smart
now,
cities, that's a good topic. I wrote that down. I'm excited for it.
yeah. So now, do you want the timeline that I found, or do you
Yeah,
want to
I'd
go
love to
into
know the
just
timeline because there's maybe we'll deduce something from the timeline.
okay? So here's the timeline of events going back to 1945. So, I mean, this is the 5G. Like, I had no idea it was this crazy deep of like people putting this stuff together. And I think it's good. So people can now, when they hear the 5G conspiracy, we're giving it the whole story, not
Right.
just the bits and pieces.
Yeah. Everything, every part
yeah.
of the conspiracy.
So, and this is one this is another conspiracy I want to get into eventually, but it's called Project Paperclip. Um, and this was back where the Nazi scientists were brought to the U.S. And a lot of these were like, Braun, whatever, the guy who worked with NASA. But these guys were working on frequency-based behavioral experiments. And that's true, the Nazis were doing. Nazis did a lot of stuff, like especially in the camps, like
Yeah.
things that we're now doing and are like, yeah, it's a good idea. It's like, but if you look back to where these ideas came from, they came from some pretty horrible people.
They really did.
And they were doing some pretty messed up stuff
Yeah.
to like not only like the Jewish people, but like everyone they caught.
Yeah.
Even our own POWs were being experimented on
Yeah.
some level, which went against the Geneva Convention and all that, but they were doing bad stuff. So Project Paperclip, we brought over these Nazi scientists. They began working with us. 1953, my favorite thing comes into play, MK Ultra.
Oh, here it is.
So we took the technology from the Nazis. They were using these methods of using waves as well as LSD and stuff, electromagnetic frequencies to mess with cognitive ability and see if they could disrupt it or make people become more compliant.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all part of that. And we kind of got into like some of MK Ultras in past episodes, which I think we need to dive into MK Ultra at some point, just straight on MK Ultra, because we keep running into it.
Yeah.
In 1971, the U.S. military releases a report titled "The Biological Ethics of Electromagnetic Radiation or Microwaves," and it circulated along about within classified circles, and this information was recently released in I think the early 2000s. So it was kept under. So now it's recently been released that the U.S. military was doing these experiments.
Yeah.
In 1975, the Soviets studies suggested low-level microwave radiation did affect behavior, fertility, and immunity. Mm-hmm. And I think that that everybody knows that. That's why you're not supposed to stand next to the microwave while you're eyeing up your pizza. And it probably isn't even smart to be microwaving your food, but whatever. That's a
whole show too. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not going to stop me. I'm going to keep doing it. Now we move on. Yeah, we move on to 1996. The U.S. passes the Telecommunications Act, restricting local authorities from citing health concerns when opposing cell towers. That's a real thing.
That's scary that seems against the Constitution, but yeah.
Yeah, so you can't go and be like, hey, I think these cell towers are messing with my kid. He's got like 3 eyes. It's like, that's not the cell tower. You're Scandinavian. And whatever,
Scandinavian defense is convincing. Yeah.
Yeah. So then 2001, post 9/11, surveillance expands under the Patriot Act, and the groundwork for a hyper-connected grid is quietly laid. They start like, hey, moving this idea. 2008, DARPA announces the progress on neurological interface devices using RF-based stimulation. Then we move on to 2010. We're getting there. The UN's Agenda 21 objectives are updated, pushing for smart cities, reduced mobility, and centralized population control. So they're wanting to get us out of being rural and being more urban.
Right.
Is that right? Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Yeah. Well, they got that city that's like a big long line, right? That's like miles of, It's like one big building.
All right. So then we move out to 2013. Edward Snowden, hero to us all, maybe. I don't know. He leaks NSA's PRISM program. PRISM, not prison. PRISM, like, the little prism like that makes the rainbow. Yeah. Revealing total data collection already in motion, that they were already collecting our data.
Wow.
Now here we go. 2014, Elon Musk. SpaceX begins lobbying for low orbit satellites, coinciding with the first proposals for 5G powered global coverage. His little Starlink. Maybe it's a bad thing. You see it all the time. People are like, are those UFOs? No, it's Starlink. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
No big deal? I don't know.
It's not camouflage for the visitors. It's definitely
Yes. So then we get back to 2016, the mass cutting down of all these trees in the UK, which coincided with undisclosed 5G tower testing. So they were testing 5G and realized, hey, these trees are in the way. And again, the Lorex had nothing to say. 2017, 5G is officially declared the next evolution of connectivity. Trials begin across Europe and Asia. Then 2018, in the Netherlands, hundreds of birds mysteriously die during a 5G frequency test, and it's written off as coincidence.
Oh, just coincidence.
A million birds died when we turned this thing on. It was a lot. I don't know if it was a million, but it was a huge amount of just birds falling out of the sky. And I remember that happening, and I didn't realize it had anything to do with 5G testing, but apparently it was when they turned on these 5G things. Then, I mean, that's the theory. I mean, well, I remember the bird,
like the tasers the police use don't have any effects except for all the people that get tased. So
yeah, now they're still like jittery as they walk down the street. It's like, but now we get to this one, 2019, early 2019, Wuhan completes its 5G infrastructure, becoming one of the first, or at least they now made it was one of the first fully covered cities. Late 2019, reports emerge of 5G sickness in test areas, insomnia, tinnitus, which is a ringing in your ears, nosebleeds, and anxiety spikes.
Wow. And what was this, 2020?
2019.
Oh, 19.
We're not, we're still in 2019. This is late 2000. Then December of 2019, COVID-19 outbreak begins in Wuhan. And the conspiracy theorists allege it is either radiation sickness or part of a coordinated dual attack virus plus EMF. Wow. So now we're almost done. This timeline is great. March of 2020, worldwide lockdowns. 5G towers are rapidly installed under the radar while the public is confined indoors. But I saw it happening because I had my little pass because I was essential until I was told I was not. Then April 2020, reports surface of people burning 5G towers in the UK. Mainstream media labels it as disinformation. They weren't doing it. They were doing it.
They were doing it. Yeah, I did.
They were doing it. Oh, yeah. Mid 2020, 5G appears in COVID relief bills in multiple countries, raising eyebrows.
I would.
Yeah. So 2020, late 2020, satellite constellation Starlink, accelerate deployment, completing the global sky grid. Yeah. Now we're in 2021. Vaccine passports begin integrating with mobile devices. QR systems rely on 5G backbone. So you had your little when they moved up, I had my essential employee passport. Then you had to get your vaccine passport saying that you were all worked up, but you needed 5G in order to get the QR code and all that. 2022, massive roll-up of smart infrastructure thermostats on cars and appliances, all feeding data into central cloud systems. 2023, digital currency pilot for several countries, social credit style systems quietly begin in tech-forward cities. So they were really, that's also when Bitcoin really started to shoot up even crazier.
Yeah.
And I kick myself to this day not buying Bitcoin.
I didn't buy any of it. I didn't even buy it
because I didn't understand it. I was like, "What is this? This sounds stupid."
Yeah,
and I could have like if I would have just invested $1,000. Actually, if I had invested $100, I'd be a millionaire right now. Back when I first heard about it, because it was like pennies on the dollar getting one Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You know, like you could have gotten 100 Bitcoin for like, under $100.
Yeah. It's like the
And if
guy
I
that
would have,
paid for his pizza with the Bitcoin, and then years later it was worth
yeah,
nothing. Yeah.
yeah, it's so dumb. Yeah. Like it's like this is stupid. All right, 2024 AI surveillance systems integrated into 5G city grids,
Oh wow.
CCTV and facial recognition. So now you got, and that's kind of to me scary because like that whole AI
Yeah.
like facial recognition stuff is crazy. 2025 entire continents, EU, Asia transition to cashless economies. Descent is the algorithmically flagged in real time. So like if and that does happen. Like and there were I remember the allegations when if you were in certain groups or you seem to be aligned, if you were posting things, it's
Mm,
happening more so in Europe than America right
definitely
now.
in
But I
Europe.
I
Yeah.
I do know that there are some people who have claimed their accounts have been frozen in America because they posted something that the government didn't like.
Oh,
I don't know if that's real. That they say it's it's fringe people like they're
right.
out to get me, and but I do know in Europe it is happening. Like
Oh, it's
people,
definitely happening. Yeah.
yeah, they'll if you post something on the Instagrams, like our prime minister's fat, and it's like, oh, guess what? You don't have a bank account anymore. How dare you say I'm overweight as he rolls down the hallway? But I don't know. So there you go. That's basically the timeline. Now we're in
Amazing.
2025. We're
Yeah.
basically a cashless society. We do have cash,
Right.
but I mean, most people like they even just like I have not done it, but my kids will have their stuff and they just tap their phone on stuff
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
and it boom,
Yeah.
5G in their hand, boom, 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 and
Yeah.
I mean, and they say it's safe and secure. But like, I wonder, like, if it's able to transfer money that quickly from your phone to this device, how's that stop somebody with a phone to just go up and tap your phone and take your money?
Yeah.
Like,
I have not tapped your phone, but I feel like, yeah, we should go around town and just see what happens if we do that. But I agree. Like the propensity, the ability to steal so fast, right? It's crazy.
yeah, it's crazy.
It's the
Yeah,
NFC, right? It's the NFC chip. You can just do it.
yeah. So
Wow.
what? So that's it. I've given you everything.
That
I
is
do.
comprehensive. I love it.
Yeah, and like the one thing I really I guess me is the one that really sticks out to me as that is probably really happening is the surveillance thing.
Right.
Yeah, keeping track of where we are, what we're posting, what we're saying.
Yeah.
Um, that I believe that's happening. Even without 5G, that was happening. And I think 5G just makes it easier for them now
Yeah. More
because
information to travel.
yeah,
Yeah. Faster.
like even when I have my phone on, like if I go on and I say I want it to be doing Wi-Fi,
Right.
5G is still going.
Yeah. It's still there.
And
You turn it
it's
off.
still up there. Like I have the Wi-Fi on, but the 5G is still like you can see it on my phone, 5G, and it's like beep, beep, beep. It's like
Yeah.
so you can't turn 5G off on your phone.
Right.
As
Right.
far as I can tell. I don't know. Maybe someone can tell me how. But
I don't know if mine turns off. I can switch networks, right? The 5G or the Wi-Fi. But I
yeah.
don't know. It seems like it automatically kicks over if it can't get to the Wi-Fi. So
Well, I mean, like yeah, mine always seems to show 5G up in the corner
yeah.
going, even when I switch over to Wi-Fi. And it like seems to
I'm
know.
looking now. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like it's there.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I mean maybe I'm dumb. Maybe there is a way to turn it off.
That's probably
I
it.
don't I or they may make you feel, well, I'm on Wi-Fi, 5G's not. Maybe it just well, when they turn on Wi-Fi, just turn off the little icon.
Right.
No.
Yeah,
How easy is that? Like,
exactly.
yeah. Oh, and I got an ad for Depends. But
Huh.
anyway, so so
Uh,
anyway,
yeah.
so
So where
what
do
are
we
your
start?
thoughts?
So the stuff that's real, I think I agree with you. I feel like anybody that want to do surveillance, the 5G, it doesn't travel far. It doesn't even go through walls. It doesn't even go
Yeah.
through skin, right? But like it does, it's a higher frequency, so it can get data to your main router or
Yeah.
tower easier, right? So
Mhm.
I totally see that. The surveillance aspect. And I actually think I was looking at the reports there appear to be legitimate reports that insects can be affected by it.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
think the bees probably a real thing from what I've seen. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know how it's get the Wuhan thing. That's just coincidence. There's other places that did that first. They had 5G first, and so that was not the cause of COVID. And how would a little frequency going at, however many gigahertz, like how would that cause a virus to do anything? It's not like it
Yeah.
move a virus, right?
Well, I
Because
think
if that
they
were true,
claim.
radio waves could do it across, like I could put a virus and shoot it over to Europe, on radio wave. Doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. I'm trying to figure it like that one. I'm trying to. I know that they say it reduces your immunity
Hmm.
somehow,
I don't know
but
that one.
I
Yeah.
yeah I don't. I mean that was part of it. Like it
Yeah.
made weakened your immunity
Okay.
and altering your oxygen uptake or something. And I don't understand how a radio wave could do that, but I guess I don't know. I mean
Because it
they
passes right
do.
through you. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
sit there and hammer on a cell. It just
yeah,
like a wave. Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah. Interesting. So yeah, I
yeah.
don't know. But yeah, so the other ones, let's see, like so the cancer seems unlikely, right? There does appear to be evidence that it heats your skin.
Hmm.
It can, but like it's not typically like because I think we've all used the cell phone and
Yeah.
it's on like I mean
What
we know that, but it's not cancer causing as far.
Yeah, well, I wonder on that, like the cancer. I bet you if you just like stuck your phone on your head for like a year for 24/7, it was just
Yeah,
right by your head. Okay,
yeah.
you probably would get cancer.
I would think
Um,
that okay, that
now,
probably,
I
yeah.
mean, I have a sad but funny story about
Mm.
that.
Oh,
When I first started working at a news station a long time ago, it was right out of college,
yeah,
and uh, there was a guy and I didn't know him. He had died before I got at this news station, but they told me about it. He would go up on the radar tower that for the Doppler radar
yeah.
for the like all the newspaper. We have Doppler radar back in the day when Doppler radar was like oh they have Doppler, so
Right.
that's really good
All
like
right.
weather reports because that guy just says regular radar, Doppler radar. That'll give me accurate weather. But and they still were wrong just as much as with the
Right.
regular radar. But
Yeah.
he would climb up on the Doppler radar tower
Oh wow.
every day because it was a beautiful view.
Yeah.
And he would eat his lunch there and be up there for an hour. And he ended up getting brain cancer. And it was because he was right next to this radar thing that was
Right.
emitting these. And no one realized he was doing that
Right.
and saying, even though there's signs saying don't go up here, and don't be up near your there's all these warnings. I guess he wasn't very so it's sad, but also kind of like, why would you do that? So
Why would you?
I feel like if you had like a 5G phone on your head, like for
Yeah.
hour, straight all the
Yeah.
time, maybe you would eventually.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure there's a thing where like if you drank too much water every day, it would like kill you, right? So
We
like,
should test that.
yeah,
Like,
you want me to,
like
I'll start drinking like 3 gallons a day and just see
yeah,
what
just see what happens. Yeah.
happens.
And we'll report it. And then like, yeah, like you just kind of balloon up because
I
of water
kind of,
retention.
yeah. Well, I wonder if I did that and like the woman in Harry Potter that like flew away like a balloon, maybe that's what's going to happen to me. I don't
Yeah.
know.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, so you're saying no to that. All right. Next, what
Yeah.
are your next one?
Let's see. So the Agenda 21, Great Reset, like I don't really buy any of that stuff. I feel like though, like if you did want to surveil, if you're a government that's wanting to do that, like it's just another mechanism to do it for, and it
Mhm.
does increase the bandwidth. So I can see it being used in some way for surveillance, but I don't know if it's part of the, all these different agendas they keep putting out at the, what is it, the United Nations and UNESCO and all those,
Yeah.
places. I don't know. What was the other one? The tree removal thing. So this was what was this thing? It was like removing the EMP buffer.
Yeah.
That's
Because
fascinating. Yeah.
because they're saying that it interfered with their ability to emit the electromagnetic frequency.
Oh
And
God.
so they had to get rid of the trees in order to do the 5G, and the 5G controlled all this stuff.
Yeah.
And if you did an EMP, but the thing is, my thought would be on that one, I questioned because wouldn't you want that buffer in your country? Because you're not going to normally do an EMP on yourself.
Right. Yeah.
So
That
I
one
didn't,
just
I
doesn't
didn't,
add up. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't. The whole thing that was confusing to me.
Yeah.
But it's the British, and of course, they do things differently. Yeah, like
Yeah.
they're throwing their own people in jail for saying, "I don't like that person has gray hair." Ah, that's
Right.
hate speech. And then
Yes.
like,
They're crazy over there right
yeah,
now.
it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like there's comedians that won't go and perform there now because they're worried
Yeah.
about and I've seen a few comedians who had shows over there and they're worried about performing because even as a American citizen going over there, if you do a performance and they deem what you said in your show as hate speech, you could get arrested. It's like they're comedians. That's part of their thing is they push you to like
Yeah.
think, you know.
That's why it's funny. But yeah, we're
Yeah.
not allowed to be funny. Humor is outlawed by Agenda 21, apparently.
Yeah. But yeah, all
Maybe
right.
that's the agenda, no humor. So yeah, and then the wildlife collapse, like I do worry because I've seen a couple reports. Like I think the insects, they're different than our biology, and they are affected by it. It appears.
Yeah. And they do, and I know like birds and like all
Yeah,
that, even
yeah,
fish, and
fish.
have this like inner
Yeah,
compass where they know where to go and they go to the same spots. And these like pulses that are going out messes up with the magnetic north and south because
right,
it's an electromagnetic frequency and it's messing up where like, oh wait, I and they're not going back to where they need to go,
right.
and they're going to the wrong places. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
So yeah, so I think that's and then what's the other one? A Starlink and smart cities. So I feel like again, smart cities, if that conspiracy is true, which we should probably explore in a future show, the
Yeah,
5G would enable all that extra bandwidth, right? So
yeah,
that's true. And then Starlink, yeah, the Starlink it doesn't use 5G. It wouldn't go through the atmosphere, right?
yeah.
So
I don't think so, but they're saying that it like I don't know. I didn't understand that either.
yeah.
I still think Starlink's bad, but whatever.
Yeah, well, we will explore. We'll explore. But yeah, I think this is good. Like I had no idea the depth and the timeline that was going on here. And I can
Yeah,
see people, many of our listeners maybe are like drawing these lines, these conclusions. But I feel like there's only two that are legit, right? I feel like if you're going to surveil or if you're going to like attack the bees and other wildlife,
yeah.
maybe
But
those are.
and then but why would you want to? That the thing is like why would you want to attack the wildlife? What
Ooh,
is it?
yeah,
What is the reasoning behind that?
yeah.
I again, it could be a population control thing
Mm.
where they
They take our honey and they run away with it, right? Like there's no honey.
yeah.
And the bees, like if you kill off the bees, it really damages the ecosystem, right? The bees are kind
Oh
of
yeah.
important. Yeah.
Yeah, it kills off basically us
Us. Yeah.
because yeah.
Yeah.
So because then you don't have way of pollinating. Like I always like these movies or shows where it's like apocalyptic or almost
Yeah.
not apocalyptic, but where divergent type societies where like there's the one Fallout TV series where they're living in these vaults underground,
Right.
and they're having an ecosystem under there. And I'm like, but you need the bees
Right.
in order to have all these vegetation and stuff.
Yeah.
And where did they go after it? Did you somehow bring down beehive? Because they don't always show that. I guess they don't get that detailed in the show, but they
Right.
show them like with fake sun creating food, and they're
Right.
surviving the ground. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, but what about like you would need these creatures, even worms. You
Yeah.
need like all
Work.
these like
Yeah.
weird like things that you don't even think about. Even ants serve a purpose,
They do.
and beyond ruining picnics on romantic getaways. They have other reasons for what they do.
They do other
Like,
things. I had no
yeah,
idea.
yeah. Even like insects like roaches and stuff. They have it. There is a purpose that they do. And even though you don't want them in your house,
Right.
you need them for the ecosystem. And so
And I think
uh
maybe we all serve the cockroaches because they seem to survive no matter what.
yeah,
So maybe they're in
they're gonna
charge.
yeah,
Yeah.
they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know,
They're
they
like
got
5G, that gives us a little heat. It's basically heat for the cockroaches. They were cold
yeah,
and they needed it. So
yeah, and they whispered into the scientists' ears, the Nazi scientists from Project Paperclip. They're like, we need 5G. They're like, Achtung, Nagin, 5G. You know, and they're like, yeah, that's my Nazi impersonation.
that was really good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now we wonder, was that AI or are you trying to tell us something? Right? What's going
that's
on?
I was a big fan of the video game Doom
Oh,
or
that would do it.
Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Wolfenstein, not Doom.
Wolfenstein.
Yeah,
Wolfenstein.
which was basically like Doom, only you were killing Nazis
Yeah.
instead of like whatever.
We should
But
bring
then it
that
kind of
back. Is
morphed.
it still
Yeah,
there? Yeah.
you can still find it, and then that game morphed. It went from you were killing Nazis, and Doom was all about you were killing monsters, and
Right.
then Wolfenstein kind of worked, and you started killing Nazi monsters, and so it just basically became the same game.
Yeah.
And then
Just one
first,
game. It's an Uber
yeah,
game.
yeah, I love that game. That game, I love first person shooter games. They were so much fun back in the day.
Oh, they were.
Yeah.
Oh, Doom was the original, I think. So
Yeah, it was Doom and then Wolfenstein. And I loved how you could like put God mode on and just like fist fight everything. That
yeah.
was what I would do. Like, and like I'd find the cheat code for God mode and just fists up and just pow pow, just beating up demons. It was so much fun. Like never picking up a gun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what we should just do in real life. So we could have the Tom and Ken at the mall episode where we just go God mode and just fist fight everything. So
Yeah, well, I think there's people who do that in New York. They get arrested for
yeah.
it.
Oh, let's not
So
do that.
yeah, I don't want to get arrested. So
Yeah.
so I think we've given everything. I think we both are in agreement on this one
We are. Yeah.
I think it is for surveillance purposes.
Mm.
And like maybe I don't know, maybe the weaponization. Now I bet you that would be is if you could somehow turn everybody's although like the Israelis did it against Hamas. They
All
turned their
right.
pagers into
Oh,
but that was they literally made them bombs inside. But if
right.
you can find a way that your cell phone emitted a frequency that you couldn't hear, but it made you, like I said, like mess yourself or gave
Right.
yourself a major headache or to the
Right.
point you were incapacitated. I bet you there eventually we'll get to that point that they would have that ability.
Yeah.
Like,
There is a frequency that knocks people out. I don't know what it
yeah,
is, but I
yeah.
know
But
they've tested
if
that.
your cell phone could be turned into a weapon where they could do that,
Yeah.
like, hey, oh, we got a cell phone, and the guy just falls down
Right. Boom. Yeah.
and then they're like, well, and people are like, you can't do that. It's like, yeah, but we just saved 1,000 people. Oh, okay. I guess it's okay in those instances. We'll give our freedom away for that.
It's a slippery
Just don't
slope.
use it on everybody, just on the bad
Just
guys.
on the bad guys. We'll
Yeah.
trust you to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever. So,
We
yeah.
got
So,
questions here at Tom and Ken, Counterintelligence. We have a lot of questions about the future of this military application. So
yeah, exactly. I wonder where it's going to go
where
and
is
who
it
it's going
going
to
to go?
affect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably
So
going to go after you.
debunked. So we debunked, but also we're kind of adding bunk at the end with the military thing. What's the
Yeah.
future of this? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Where could it go next?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. That's it. I think that's interesting. So what do you want to do next week? Had
All
we
right.
discussed?
So we had a couple things come up. So we had smart cities, we
Yes.
had Starlink, and then there is MK Ultra, which seems to come up so much,
A
right?
lot.
A lot.
Yeah. I
So
I I think we need to do a deep dive into MK Ultra, what it was and what's going on.
yeah.
Because like we've hit on it, bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, we've mentioned it a few times, but yeah.
Yeah. But we haven't gone deep into just MK Ultra. I think we need to.
All right.
And before the CIA shuts us down.
The
So,
internet, maybe the whole internet will come, maybe our show will bring down the entire internet. I don't
yeah.
know. Yeah.
Maybe we are the end game for 5G.
Oh my gosh. And people have not tune in more so you can be here and understand what's going to happen to you.
Yeah,
Right.
we will tell you what's going to happen next and why.
Right. We're basically the Simpsons and South Park. We predict the
Yeah.
future and Mountain
Yeah,
Dew.
and Mountain Dew. Yeah, and maybe Coke. I don't know.
Maybe Coke. Yeah. There's
I haven't looked in. The Coke doesn't have cool names. It's just like Coke and Coke Cherry and Diet Coke
yeah.
and Coke Zero. Actually, I think it's Pepsi Zero, but maybe it's Coke Zero too.
But there's a polar bear, right, involved
Yeah.
in the marketing. So I don't know. Is
Yeah.
America involved? There's some
Yeah.
stuff. with that.
Yeah, it's likely because it's all about global warming.
Right. It
The
could
polar
be.
bears need jobs because their homes are being melted.
Yeah.
So
Don't melt
there you
the,
go.
yeah, don't melt their homes. We don't need them that close to us.
Yeah.
So,
So
all right.
next
So
week,
it's been great. I'm excited. Next week, MK Ultra.
I'm excited. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I guess thanks to everybody who stopped by listening to us, and I hope that helps explain what the thoughts are on 5G. Now you can decide which of the 5G conspiracies is right for you and your family. And so there you go. Take that with you and be like, our family believes in the tree removal one. And
Right.
that's why we're going to plant more trees.
Right.
You and the Lorax fighting 5G.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
what you want to
We're
know.
launching a movement today. This is great.
Yeah.
Which one is
Right.
for you? Yeah.
Yeah, pick your 5G conspiracy, run with it, and keep
This
it
has been
going.
the
And let
best
us,
show. Like
yeah,
we're giving back with this show.
yeah. And I want to know which 5G conspiracy you have chosen for you and your family.
Yes, put it in the comments.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
How it, and where you go and what you're going to do about it.
Right, exactly. And don't say it too loud because Facebook's probably listening.
And if it's something illegal, do not put it on our page at all.
Yeah,
Because,
please do
I
not
don't
do
want to
that.
be in any cahoots.
Right.
I'm
We're
against cahoots.
we talk about the conspiracies. We're not joining in with them. So
Yeah, we're not stopping.
right, exactly. It's just
We
going to be
want
what
them
it's
to,
gonna be.
we want the conspiracies to grow and
Right
flower.
into
And
at
as a
least 200
flower, we
more
need bees.
episodes.
Yeah.
What's that?
And if they, as the conspiracies flower, we need the bees.
That we
So
do. We need it.
to pollinate the conspiracies.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your support, audience. We're excited for next week.
Yeah. And we'll see you then. All
See
right.
you guys.